One of the questions we get asked all the time is like, what does disconnected mean? Because everyone goes and looks at pictures, and today we're going to do a disconnected haircut so we can show you the difference between that. So what disconnect really means is that we're going to have two distinct lengths separated by a part. And so it's going to be dramatically longer all of a sudden on top. The most important thing about a disconnected haircut is you really need to have length on top. This is more than enough length. Sometimes you have to grow it longer, and that growing process can be really annoying. One of the most important things for starting a disconnect haircut is to get a very exact part, because you're going to have two very distinct lengths. And part of the problem is that you can get creep, and so the part starts getting higher and higher if you don't use the exact same part every time.
One thing about the disconnect haircut is that it does take some very intentional styling. So you do need to style it in a particular way to make sure that the very short hair and the longer hair kind of mesh well together stylistically.
So what I'm doing right now is clipper over comb, and I'm using this to give us a slightly more square shape at the top. If we were to take the clippers all the way to the part, it would follow the round of the head, and proportionally, I think it can be a little bit easier to style and slightly like more of a square shape to give us a little bit more of that square at the top instead of going in on the round. So one of the things that we like to do at Taylor is blend in the crown. We're not going to blend in here at all, which is what is the definition of a disconnect, is it's not blended at all. But back here, it can be a little bit easier for styling if we do a blend in the back. Okay, so what we're going to do to blend is we are going to do some pie-shaped partings in the crown, and we're going to do a light blend in through only the crowned area. I'm going to do point cutting because we're not going to make this a hard blend, but a soft blend. So we still have the weight in this area, but it's just a lot less. After a quick, we faded the neckline and we just did all the finishing around the ears and the neck, and now what we're going to do is styling. I'm going to use some super glue from Kevin Murphy so that we can really get some control over the longer length on the sides. You really want to make sure to just evenly distribute and throughout. Now we can do one of two things. We can leave it as is and let it dry, and it's going to have a slightly wetter look, but if we want to have more control, we can also blow dry and then use a finishing product as well. So yeah, so that's an easier way to style a disconnect. Luckily Che has some really great natural texture, so we can just leave it to air dry. But that's the Taylor way that we would use to style a disconnect.